Hi, everybody. It's Phil Martin, and this is the OnFilm column on video. And welcome back to what? How many weeks has this been? Well, it's the end of it's the end of summer season. It would be the end of the summer season had we had a summer movie season. We would be in the doldrums of horse latitudes now. We would be watching the kinds of movies that get released when nobody has very high hopes for them. So I guess that, we're not really missing out much right now. This particular week, we've got a kind of okay, another IFC movie, and IFC has done great during this pandemic because they have released films to drive-ins and to the movie theaters that are open, and they've actually prospered, or at least they haven't been hit as hard as other studios. And it's sort of a, kind of an interesting little success story, the niche they've filled, and that people want new product, and they're releasing these films like The Rental and whatever it was last week, which I can't remember already. And this week, which is Made in Italy, which is a fine film. I mean, it's very much what it is, in that it's not a very ambitious film. It's the first film by another actor, James D'Arcy, who is making his directorial debut, just like Dave Franco did with The Rental. And it's got the same sort of modest aspirations, I think. It wants to be sort of this father-son poignant comedy with Liam Neeson and his real-life son, Michelle Richardson. And what adds to the whole thing is that you have a real-life father and son playing a father and son in the movie, and some of the backstory in the movie rhymes with the backstory between, or the backstory of Liam Neeson and Michelle, because Natasha Richardson, Liam's wife and Michelle's mother, died in 2009 after a skiing accident in Quebec, near Montreal. If I remember correctly, she was in a beginning ski class and she fell and hit her head, and she refused medical attention at the time, went back to New York, and 2 days later she's dead. That's sort of horrible story. And like I said, the story isn't that. The story, which is written by D'Arcy, who is, I guess this is his first screenwriting project too. I really didn't look that up. I'm guessing that D'Arcy hadn't written a screenplay before, but he wrote and directed this. So it's not terrible. And if you like Liam Neeson like I do, it's always fun to watch him. And anything that gets you out, watching people go through the countryside these days, is going to feel better now than it would normally. You'll respond to it in a more emotional way, or at least I do, since we can't go anywhere. All our trips have been canceled. But I wanted to say that the IFC thing has been really working out really well because, like I said, they're releasing these films to theaters, so you can go to a theater and see them, or you can get it through the usual video on demand channels, which I guess a lot of us are getting used to. But either way, it's out there. It's new product. It's still a relic from the days before, we were locked down. We haven't really seen any lockdown movies yet. I mean, there have been a few released. I have not watched them. Movies done on Zoom and stuff like that. But they're coming, and just like there were 9/11 movies coming after 9/11, it's interesting to see how this is going to play out. How will we dramatically represent this in the future? I don't know. I think that you've already seen, like, if you go back and watch some things, like, it seems like there are a lot of things that correspond to our present situation in the old movies. Anything you watch now, you'll find things that sort of remind you of this. I'm thinking of the J.K. Simmons show, Counterpart, which a whole subplot is there's an alternate world, alternate Earth, that's broken off this timeline that we're on, and that world suffered this pandemic that killed like 20% of the world's population. So, you know, and you watch that and you see the public service announcements from that other world, the Earth B, or whatever you want to call it, where the kids are wearing masks and where one kid starts coughing and everybody moves away from him. And, you know, it's interesting. It's interesting how these things crop up again, because pandemics aren't unthought about, unheard of, unknown. It's just that most of us can't remember living through one like we're living through this one right now. So, anyway, like I said, it's a dead movie time in the best of times, early August. I mean, there will be things coming out. There'd be horror movies. There'd be, you know, teen sex comedies. There'd be unpromising kind of dramas. There would be movies sort of like Made in Italy coming out, because Made in Italy is obviously a modest production. It's not going to win any awards. It's not going to make anybody's name. It's a nice demonstration that James Darcy can make a movie. Maybe he needs a better screenwriter. Maybe he needs more money. I don't know. It's a mild experience. It's not anything to make you stand up and cheer, but it's not, you know, I mean, you got to respect, you know, that he did it. I do, at least. I mean, I think it's very hard to make these things. But what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, you know, it's like, what are we doing these days? I mean, you know, for our entertainment, we're turning to deeper and deeper into the Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime catalogs, and I would recommend, if you're a person who has a certain kind of taste, like if you like European TV shows, you might try the Acorn service, which has that wonderful No Offense show and a few other things. Or you might try Sundance Now, which is, and I think you can get this on Amazon Prime too. I'm not sure it comes with, but you can maybe rent it or buy it through Amazon Prime. And that's a Swedish series called The Restaurant. And The Restaurant's a lot like Downton Abbey. It's about one family, the Swedish family, the Lovanders, who own this very popular, very upscale restaurant in Stockholm. And it starts right at the end of World War II. And the next episode, we're on season 3, which is the final seasons that's been filmed. I don't know how many episodes we've got left to go, but it jumps all the way into, I mean, the next show we watch is going to be in 1971. So the interesting thing is you're watching, you know, generations pass, even though these actors don't really age. It's sort of funny that the you know, the children grow up and they look like their mother's sister and stuff like that. And you know, I'm starting to calculate their actual, what their ages would be in my mind, and they're, you know, they look 20 years younger than they actually look. And at first they looked 20 years older than they were supposed to look, I guess. I mean, but it's an interesting show. It is very much a soap opera. It's very melodramatic, but it's not as stupid as Downton Abbey was, which Downton Abbey used to make me mad with how ridiculous it was. Now this is pretty ridiculous, but it's all kind of, it's like this sort of ridiculous plausibility to it. I mean, it's like absurd things happen in families. We all know that. And absurd things happen in this family, and you can buy it or not, but it's something to watch. It's called The Restaurant. It's on Sundance Now and Amazon Prime, though you may have to buy it there. I don't know for sure, because I'm still not sure exactly how all this works. And one of the reasons, you know, I'm not sure how this works is because I'm like this fairy creature who doesn't live in the real world. Often what happens is I get codes for these services because they want me to watch something on their service. I activate the code and then I have it, which I'm not complaining about, but it's one of the perks of doing my job. But, you know, it's like, I haven't paid for a movie in years, so, you know, you should always take that into consideration when, you know, you're reading a critic's work, because the critic doesn't necessarily pay to go see the movies. Siren outside. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to cut it short this week. I mean, I don't know what the optimal length is for these things. I'm not getting a whole lot of feedback from you folks. I know some of you are watching it, and I suspect that a lot of people click on it for a few seconds and see me and get off. But anyway, and there's no dog this week because they're all downstairs, and I don't know why I can't get them to come up with me. I've tried luring them up with love and attention. Not food yet. I haven't tried that. But they're downstairs with their mom. Okay. So, next week, we'll be back. We'll probably still be here. Stay safe. And be strong. It's not going to last forever. We got sports back, sort of. We got the NBA back. Got the NHL back. Kind of got baseball back. Kind of. So, and Tenet is going to open in China, maybe here in September. We'll see.